Oh yeah, good afternoon. A beautiful rainy day. Rain barrels are full. Orchids hanging. Orchid house, shade house, all wet, nice and wet. Everybody's being watered. It's about 88 degrees, 100% humidity. Let me go inside and show you what I'm up to. Okay, I've already mixed up some African violet soil, but I had a bunch of people requesting it, asking if I would do it or show them how I do it. It's pretty straightforward. I just threw some dirt on the floor. I use this container right here. It's almost clear, like, I don't know, like a giant Tupperware container. You put clothes and stuff in it or whatever. Anyway, that's what I keep the soil in. That way it keeps the humidity up, keeps the moisture up, and I keep it labeled, and it keeps everything else out of it. What I use is a container. It doesn't make a difference what size container you use. It's just a ratio is all I use. In this box right here contains 3 of these, and this is probably, I don't even know if it says on there. No, it doesn't. Sorry. Anyway, it's probably like a quart. I put 3 of these, and I put 3 of these of peat moss. I put 1 vermiculite, and I put 1 perlite, and I dump it all together in here. Just a ratio of 3, 1, and 1. 3 of peat moss, 1 vermiculite, 1 perlite. Dump them all in here. That gets mixed up with just some warm water. So it's just moist, just barely just moist. You don't want it wet. I just want it barely moist. And then what I'll add is some garden lime, regular dolomitic lime, garden lime, what you would use on your lawn or in your garden. This is actually, it says 5.5 ounce little cup. It's like a little fruit cocktail cup, fruit cup or whatever. I'll use something like this worth of lime mixed in with that. And then the last thing I use, and I guess if there's any kind of secret that I use with any of my violets or anything I do that might be different than a lot of people, is I add some beneficials. This is mycorrhizae bacteria. I add a scoop of this to that mix it all up real good, and I want it so when it's moist, I wasn't gonna put my hands in here today, but I want it so when I pull it together, it holds into a clump, but when I let go of it, it drops, pretty much breaks into pieces. All right, if it a little bit holds together, it's not going to hurt, but that's the kind of moisture I want. You should be able to feel the moisture when you take the lid off. I can feel the moisture in here. Now, I just mixed this up last night. I should have filmed it. Once I add the bacteria and the lime and the 3 peat, 1 vermiculite, 1 perlite, add it all together, mix everything up with some warm water and leave it alone. Usually within about 48, 72 hours, I'll have a little bit of a netting, almost a web. You can see it in the corners, around the edges and stuff. And it's the bacteria, the mycorrhizae bacteria, coming to life and starting to spread out. And that's what I use it for. Fresh peat moss, fresh perlite, fresh vermiculite. There's not really a lot of bacteria in there. By me adding some beneficial bacteria in there, when I plant brand new violets or even cuttings or leaves or anything, they really explode in growth. They boom real fast. The little tiny babies. That's one of the things I do. I repot my babies as soon as I get them home. One of the things I've noticed, if I don't repot them immediately when I get them, one, I get a lot more thrips or bugs or insects or other stuff like that pop out of the soil that comes with the violets. But also, because I think they have so many violets, they use wick matting. Their violet mixes are either too wet or too dry, and I don't care for them that much. So I usually repot right away. And the biggest reason is, other than the pests, like that wouldn't be enough, is and the main reason is the nutrients. Most of their mixes are very, very high vermiculite, I've noticed, or perlite mixes, very, very little peat mixed in them at all. And peat doesn't really have any nutritional value, very, very little. And it's very acidic on its own. That's why I add the lime. The lime helps to sweeten everything and keep it from getting too acidic, and as it breaks down from going too acidic. And then the plants can absorb nutrients and stuff. African violets, you don't need to get in too much unless if you check your initial pH of your water at your house and your nutrient levels of what you're feeding and stuff, you shouldn't have any problems with anything like that, and you're in pretty good shape with that. I think somebody else covered that in a video recently and did a good job of it. One of the things, I guess, the main reason I use the bacteria is to give them a big jump start, give the roots a good jump start, and they just explode in growth. The bacteria makes everything copacetic in the root ball. Breaks back. It allows bacteria to start immediately breaking down nutrients, so the plant can absorb them very, very quickly into a form that they can readily absorb them. Good food right away. In fresh new soil that doesn't have anything like that, like peat, and like I'm mixing my own mix up. Not a lot of stuff in it just yet. It'll take a little while to build it up. By doing this, boom, I can get it right away. Now you can also add this to your water. Just add this to your water and add it to your plants. And I use a lot of this. It's not super, super cheap stuff, but it goes a long, long way because you just use a little bit of it. And it's a little teeny tiny scoop in here. I've had this for, I don't know, 6-7 months. So it lasts a long, long time. But any new plants or transplants or house plants or anything that if something's just been repotted and I want it to just take off real hard again, put some of this on there. It'll do it. It really will. And I'm not trying to promote their product. There's a lot of different ones of this around. Mycorrhizae bacteria is very, very common. You can find it in a lot of different things. It's no different than if you save a handful of your old potting soil when you're repotting a plant. If you take some of your old potting soil and throw it back in there, you're adding some of that good bacteria back into that brand new potting mix that's been in the plastic bag that's been inside of a warehouse and probably doesn't have a whole lot of decent bacteria in it. So if you save some of your soil, you're kind of like reseeding it, if that makes sense. This kind of does it also. Anyway, I had a bunch of requests for that. Thought I'd show this. I got to get cleaned up. I got to sweep the floor here. I just dumped all the dirt now. But I got work to do, and it's going to stop raining, so I'm going to go fertilize. Have a great afternoon. Go work in your garden.